Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwarash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations, as always, to the elect. All right. And as you know, we're living in the worst case scenario. All right. But also, it is the best case scenario because this is what has to take place before the Heavenly Father sets the judgment. All right. Wickedness has to, take its course, fulfill its measure before the Heavenly Father establishes righteousness. And that's the balance of the Most High God, Yahweh. You see, he fulfills the good by establishing bad. All right. He justifies hot, all right, by establishing cold, and vice versa. All right. In the scriptures, it says good is set against evil. All right. When you look at the works of the Most High, okay, there's forces of good and there's forces of evil. Without evil, good wouldn't, all right, be established or validated as good. And we're living under the most demonic and wicked and proud rule of any of the heathen nations that have been granted power in the earth by the Most High God, Yahweh, through his son, Yahweh Shai. Each of these heathen were prophesied to have, their portion in their kingdoms. But when you look at world domination, the only two nations that would have that kind of power would be, all right, Esau and Jacob. And we're living in Esau's blessing, which is marked by evil, rebellion, and we're living in what you call, a Christian country, called America. And these things are being forwarded even by the president that, these Christian nationalists are rallying behind, Donald Trump. All right. When you look at the talking point of transhumanism, all right, the people who Donald Trump is surrounding himself with, while he's claiming to be a Christian, all right, they're in league with the transhumanist agenda and merging man with machine, which goes outside of the bounds of what the Heavenly Father has granted. And that's dangerous. And it's not a big of enough, worry amongst the people, showing you that they've been dumbed down. Where you have a president who's in league with transhumanists and guys who want to merge man with machine, destroy the ecosystem via, their NWO, and just live as complete demons on the planet Earth. He's not against that. He's not against Monsanto. These things aren't being stopped and halted. And these are the reasons why people are suffering. When you look at this man's demonic rule, it leads to suffering in the earth when the rules and the regulations and the standards of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua are not being practiced in the earth. Therefore, you have a sick earth, and the earth matters. You get to the point where this devil has you so hooked on phones and technology and, false forms of reality that you forget that you're on an earth, a creation, and it was created by a creator with wisdom, and man was meant to dwell here in forward wisdom. And Esau, with his world rulership, his blessing, all right, has not uplifted righteousness. As a matter of fact, okay, show favor, or is it shoe favor? Or is it? All right, hold up. Favor could be shoe favor or shoe. All right, this is the book of Isaiah 26:10. Let favor be shewed to the wicked. So he was shown favor in the form of a blessing. Yet he will not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly. And he's over in a portion of the Holy Land dealing unjustly. The throne of David hasn't been established, showing you the true Israelites ain't over there. And the throne of David won't allow the wicked practices that are being forwarded by the heathen to be forwarded. Which, as we're going to show you, all of these transhumanist ideologies go back, all right, to the Greco-Roman gods, which ultimately they got all of that madness from Babel. Okay, the ancient Babylon, the original Babylon under Nimrod. All of these rebellious ideologies have forwarded themselves through the generations, and now we're living, all right, under a kingdom who was forwarding those gods and ideologies and concepts, all right, via left-handed magic, artificial intelligence. Do you understand what that means? Artificial is something made up of a man. An artificer creates, all right, things that people bow to, or people wear, or people decorate their houses with, but people will bow to these things as gods. Well, now, and it's artificial, it's made by a man. But now they're able to create artificial intelligence. See? Where it's actually a living, talking, functioning power. Okay, and it's here. So favor has been showed unto the wicked, and he has not, with his Christian nationalist rhetoric, he has not forwarded righteousness. He doesn't condemn true wickedness. Okay, he doesn't, use his Christian values to come up against things like Monsanto that manipulates the seeds that are needed. The scriptures tell you, all right, that seed should be planted, okay, and it will bring forth fruit according to its like. Okay? After its kind. Genesis, all right, verse 1 and 12. And these 1,000-year periods ain't no one day, literally. It's, all right, the scripture says one day, but one day with the Lord is 1,000 years. No, the earth was not created in one day. 6 days. It's complete madness. Come on, man. The earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit whose seed is in itself after its kind. And God saw that it was good. So there should not be any human being without food if you keep the law. Because these were commandments that the Elohim brought forth, all right, under Yahushai, seeds, what would be put on earth to forward man. He would need trees, he would need seed, he would need herbs. And these seeds are meant to last forever and never die. But we're living in a system where you have, let's look up, what are Terminator seeds? You got to go into stuff like this too. So Jake really doesn't understand the severity of the wickedness going on. Terminator seeds are a type of genetically engineered seed designed to produce sterile seeds. So sterile seed means you have a son and then he's no longer, all right, as he gets older, he's not able to get a wife and forward your legacy. See that? Sterile seeds in their generation, preventing farmers from saving and replanting them. This Terminator technology, also known as genetic use restriction technology. So you're restricting genetics from being spread. And that's what he does with human beings. And that's what he is trying to do with human beings. Okay? Just as he's poisoned the seeds, he's trying to manipulate and poison the seed of man and make it into his own version so that he can, run from, the what's written. Genetic use restriction technology. or suicide seeds, protects the intellectual property of agricultural companies by ensuring farmers must purchase new seeds each year to grow crops. So no, you no longer rely on the Lord. Now man is in, power and control. Man is a god. You go to man, all right, for the crops instead of the Lord. And there's certain things that just don't grow in certain seasons. Esau wants to force them to grow in the season. So what does he do? He manipulates the gene. What do you think this is doing to you? What do you think this is? How do you think this is affecting you? When you look at all of the issues that human beings have, this is one of millions of issues that are plaguing the earth under the Edomites' rulership. Yet Christian nationalists have not used their Christendom, their Jesus, to condemn it. So now you have this thing, transhumanism, that we're going to get ready to get into, amongst a few other things in the spirit, right? Transhumanism is the belief or theory that the human race can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitations, especially by the means of science and technology. Okay, and when you look at all of the people Trump is surrounding himself with, okay,
Thank you.
it's these people. It's people that are invested in merging man with machine and the leaders of this fourth industrial revolution, which they're just the faces for someone even bigger. Okay, and all of these people who have these godless ideas. We are witnessing a defiance of the Most High. See that? Let's get Daniel, the 7th chapter. Daniel 7 and 25. Let's get it in the NLT. And he shall defy the Most High and oppress the holy people of the Most High. And he shall try to change their sacred festivals and laws, just keep us out of tune, so that he would defy the Most High, okay, and oppress the holy people of the Most High. Who do you think this is talking about? Now, the word defying the Most High, and this is where you Israelites are lacking when you bring up issues in the planet Earth. You quick to bring up, hate and, even black fatigue. Okay. You tired of niggas. You got certain so-called black people, certain Israelites that are just tired of niggerdom. I get it. Cool. They do videos against the Israelites, But when it comes to Esau, it's more so just, oh, yeah, and it's nothing really, because you're godless. You haven't learned righteousness. Okay? Even the conscious community, they don't have, they got certain dudes in the health, but they don't have prophets. They're not, hoping for a system to be set up where they rule, all right, under righteous principles based upon the law, statutes, and commandments. So to defy means to openly resist or refuse to obey. And this is what we're witnessing, a kingdom of demons, all right, who are opposing the Most High openly. Okay? And when you look at these people, Trump had himself with, as he announced Project Stargate, they're all transhumanist. But then you have the MAGger, who is a Christian, supporting it. Some of them call out certain things. They're divided. Don't get it twisted. All right. But where are guys like Vocab Malone? Where are these Christians who have a voice? All right. Outside of the few, because there should be more. There are a few who are calling out some of these things. I'm not going to act like none of them do, but the Christian nationalist in particular. Okay. The one who's proud of America's history, but at the same time want to claim Jesus Christ and talk about love and forgive and forget. Those guys. Where's your outcry on all of these transhumanists standing around your president and their will being forwarded right before your very eyes? Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, and Masayoshi Son, are they all transhumanists? Transhumanism is a philosophical, cultural, technological movement that broadly supports using emerging technology to enhance human capabilities, physically, mentally, and lifespan. Some to transcend or go beyond biological limitations. And when you go into this man's system, okay, it would be marked by miracles. Revelation 13 and 14, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. And we always show you that miracles is associated with Semayan is a miracle, a mark. All right, a sign, a prodigy, a portent, an unusual occurrence transcending the common course of nature. So we're literally witnessing, okay, a genius in wickedness. And they're tapped into this stuff and it's working for them. All of these dudes are transhumanists that Trump is surrounding himself with, yet it's supposed to be a Christian nationalist surge. These aren't Christian principles. This is godly. This is nothing but, the Tower of Babel all over again. The serpent in the garden all over again. Okay? And, I looked it up. You can just pause it and read it or look it up yourself. They're all into transhumanism. Larry Ellison. Okay? And all of them are into this anti-aging, living immortally on earth. Okay? Longevity, enhancement. Okay? He has some transhumanist ideologies. Larry Ellison. He's into longevity, anti-aging, resisting mortality, biomedical enhancement. What do you think that means? Okay? So he's strongly aligned with it. This Sun guy. Okay? They are transhumanists in some dimensions. So what in the hell is Trump doing presenting these people to you? And where's Jesus in all of this? Transhumanism, a grimoire of alchemical agendas, unravels the hidden threads linking science, alchemy, and humans' transformation. And this is what they're trying to do right before your very eyes. Okay? So in this book, he explores the deep connection between ancient alchemical traditions and modern science to see what ancient traditions are they tapping into. All right. Well, the Greco-Roman Empire, as we'll show you. But where does that go back to? Babel. This is how you are in Babylon the Great, because now those very ideas, sciences, left-handed secrets and myths are now able to be forwarded with artificial intelligence. Okay? Let's see here. It says he delves into the intricate connections between ancient alchemical traditions, modern science, and the transhumanist movement. The book challenges readers to reconsider the foundations of science, religion, and the human condition. All right, because science used to be backed by the Bible. See? But once these Satanists hijacked the science movement, it became what you see today. And that jab was so-called science in 2020. That was science. Okay? And don't forget, your Donald Trump was a big part of pushing that thing. He's still pushing it. Okay? After dinner with this guy, Gates of Hell, Trump pushes Florida to maintain school juice mandates. See that? But see, the maggers, all right, and the Christian nationalists are with it. They don't have a problem with it. Because in their eyes, juices are science. That's real science, not the science of the Holy Scriptures. And this is not medical information. We're just going into what's happening. The book, all right, says, revealing how ancient wisdom continues to shape contemporary thought and technological ambitions. So we're going to show you another aspect of the image of the beast living right before your very eyes. Okay? Because Revelation, the 13th chapter says what? Okay? This very same beast had power, verse 15, to give life unto the image of the beast. And what's the image of the beast? The image of the beast which had a wound by a sword and did live, which is ultimately the ancient Western Roman Empire being revived. The wound by a sword was the Western Roman Empire falling for a period of 1,000 years and then being revived in the late 1400s. Okay, you got Medici, families like the Medici family, eventually the Borgias, and eventually Italy was reborn with the ideas, sciences, and thoughts of the scholars and wise men of the ancient Western Roman Empire. It was all reborn, starting in Italy, Spanish, French, British, America, the small hat. All right. This is that very beast living on, doing what it was known to do. All right. With its great sword. So the beast had a wound by a sword and did live via, the Renaissance, which the Renaissance was the rebirth of the Western Roman thought classics and everything that you see today being forwarded. It's all the resurgence of Greco-Roman rhetoric. All right. It says, and he had power to give life, Revelation 13 and 15, to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image would be killed. And this is what Trump is now standing up saying. If you don't bow to our image, we're going to pass laws and legislation that you be killed. And this word kill is what? Separated as well when you go into it. Separated from fellowship, but also it can mean literally killed. So laws are getting ready to be passed. And then ultimately those who fully submit will be ushered into a system where they have to take the mark, which is an oath, a badge of ownership to the elites via a digital all, and man will be fully merged with machine. So we're witnessing the image of the beast, the Western Roman Empire, live in this very transhumanist ideology. All right. And when you deal with, a true evolution, it was always really going back to the Babylonians. It was always really rooted in man turning himself into a god. You go back to Gilgamesh, all of those ideologies. All right. You showcase transhumanism where they tell you used to be a monkey, but they're on a whole nother level with it. Okay. They're deeper with it. As Peter Thiel said, just changing yourself, a man changing himself to a woman, that's easy work. We want to go further. Change your soul. So ancient wisdom continues to shape contemporary thought and technological ambitions. The authors begin to explore alchemical roots of modern science, tracing the influence of Renaissance thinkers like Marsilio, all right, Ficino, Renaissance thinkers. So he's showing you how transhumanism really goes back to the thoughts and works of these Edomites. Okay? It's a Catholic priest. Okay? And pretty much going back to the Renaissance, he was a humanist philosopher of one of the early, Renaissance, philosophers. He was an astrologer, right? Let now your astrologers. Let's get that in the book, all right, of Isaiah 47. Okay? Isaiah 47. And 13, let thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from the things that shall come upon thee. See that? So they're tapping into this ancient wisdom, right? And they believe it's going to get them a victory. It says, Ficino's interpretation of Plato's Symposium introduces the idea of love as a magical force that binds the universe together. All right, this concept is echoed in Mark Booth's writing. So when you go, all right, it's going to go deeper into it. But when you go, I went here because you look up Plato, and he's an Athenian philosopher. Okay, and this is, when you look up the Renaissance, let's just look it up real quick. The Renaissance means rebirth. It's an intellectual rebirth where the thoughts and the ways of the Edomites, were reborn into the earth, because for 1,000 years Jake was ruling. But when you tap into it, I'm just going to tap in Greek. Boom. Hold up. It's also the Renaissance intellectual basis was founded on its version of humanist derived from the concept of Roman humanitas, this humanist, crap that a lot of people run around with today, and the rediscovery of classical Greek philosophy. So all of these things that we're witnessing, okay, have their roots going back to the Greco-Roman beast system. I mean, the empire, those ancient, and it's forwarding that system. It's reborn. Revelation 13:2, and I saw, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, which we know in Daniel the 7th chapter, the leopard represents the Greeks. The beginning of this very beast system we live in started with the Greeks. Okay? And it says later, and the dragon gave him his power. The dragon represents what? The Western Roman Empire. And we know that by reading the 12th chapter, where the red dragon, when it speaks about Herod, who was set up, an Amalekite set up by the Roman Empire to have jurisdiction over Jerusalem, right? And he called himself the King of the Jews, but it symbolizes the red dragon, that empire, all right, trying to X out the Messiah. So that red dragon is what gave this devil his authority, and he's forwarding that authority in the earth today. But now he's playing it out, all right, with a even greater intent. He has powers beyond the tyrants and the philosophers of old. Now he can put it into play. Okay, I asked, were any of Plato's ideas reborn during the Renaissance? Are they used in modern times? Yes, many of Plato's ideas were reborn. And who's Plato? Okay, we just showed you. All right, he's an Athenian philosopher, student of Socrates, who is considered the founder of Western philosophy. So Western philosophy is rooted in the pseudoscience going back, all right, to Plato. All right, which there were Jakes, high up in thought around these times too. All right, but I believe Plato was an Edomite, but he's known as the founder. Yeah, Plato was an Edomite. He's known as the founder of Western philosophy. Okay, now going back here. All right, Nep Neoplatonism, art and beauty. Plato's belief that beauty reflects higher truth, inspired Renaissance art. All right, where they, painting over the images of the dark images with their own, the image of the Edomite being the image, the standard of beauty, all of that political thought. Plato's Republic influenced Renaissance debates on the idea, state, and education of rulers. For instance, Thomas More, yada, yada, yada. You can go into a Plato in modern times, education, okay? Plato's Academy was the model for universities, right? So when we say the image of the beast is living, speaking and living, it's the system we live in. Okay, we were raised as Greco-Roman, idol worshippers and didn't even know it. Political philosophy, philosophy ideas, ethics and psychology, mathematics and science. Okay? you know, art and aesthetics. Okay? How could Plato's symposium be used to forward transhumanism? That's a deep question and actually a fascinating link. Plato's symposium is about love, yada, yada, yada. All right. And the human striving towards higher forms of truth and immortality. Transhumanism at its core is also about transcending our limits, all right, mortality, frailty, ignorance, using reason and technology. So when you go into the two, they can be linked. Because what we're witnessing is all of the idols and the philosophies of the ancient wise men of the Greco-Roman Empire, okay, which the Greeks and the Romans got their ideas from where? Babel, Egypt, Canaan, and just forwarded it in their own way. Okay? Plato's symposium provides a psychological justification for transhumanism by showing that human beings have always longed for transcendence. And this is what the serpent in the garden came with. You shall become as gods by rebelling against the Heavenly Father. Immortality and higher forms of existence. Transhumanists can be pitched as a technological fulfillment of that Platonic ascent, moving from bodily desire, intellectual achievement, transcendence beyond human limits. See that? So this devil is forwarding an ungodly agenda, but is rooted in ancient science. We're watching it be reborn in our time, and it has nothing to do with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Heavenly Father. It's rebellion against the Heavenly Father. And in the process, everything's dying. Okay? Everything's dying in the process. Okay? Everything literally is just dying under this man's rulership. Outbreak of viral deer killing disease prompts alarm, warning to meat eaters. So there's getting ready to be a cattle plague. And who's at the forefront of it? Esau, Edom. The way he rules the earth, all right, is absolutely mad. Mark, the 13th chapter and the 20th verse. Except the Lord have shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he have chosen, he have shortened the days. Okay? So except the Lord shorten these days, everything is going to die at this man's hands. Okay. He is in 100% rebellion to the Most High, and right in his order. Okay. But he wants to call himself a Christian. He wants to call himself a JEW. When you got devils, all right, you don't see Netanyahu condemning Gil Bates. Look what he's doing. Okay. Gil Bates alters crops' DNA to produce toxins inside cells. EPA, all right, grants approval with zero safety data. So they're allowing this man, all right, to meddle with the food supply once again, all right, by altering the DNA of the crops to produce toxins that, ultimately will combat the G warming. And he was granted approval with zero safety data. So he doesn't care, which they already done the study. They know that this is going to affect human beings. Yet you don't hear any outcry. You don't hear anybody really crying against this. Okay? Once again, he's meddling with the food supply, this time with a technology so extreme it could permanently alter nature itself. Okay? It uses R to the N to the Ize to reprogram this, right? See that word? Of staple crops. All right, so it wants to reprogram the genetic makeup of these particular plants. Okay, of beans, corn, tomatoes, so that they produce toxins inside their own cells, turning food into a weapon against insects, animals, and anyone who eats it. Why? Because there's too many people on the earth. It's overpopulated, like Deacon Hakah said. And the kingdom the earth gonna be overpopulated. Okay. And shockingly, all right, they have already rubber stamped the experimental technology. No independent safety trials, no transparency, no labels, just quiet approval, clearing the way for these toxic RNA crops to enter farms, markets, and dinner plates across America. And they're already on your plate. The stuff that we have access to, even the stuff that's so-called organic and good, it's tainted. It comes out of tainted ground. This goes far beyond traditional GMOs. Instead of altering the D to the N to the Ize directly, Tirana uses R to the N to the Ize. This is childish. I'm too old for this shit, man. God damn. Let me go get some water. Hold up. This is some bullshit. This is a mess. This is a damn mess. Okay? Permanently altered. These foods would not be labeled as GMO. They involve synthetic, viral, all right, R to the N to the A. Plants themselves will manufacture pesticides compounds in their cells, so we no longer have to spray them. It will automatically be inside of them, as if spraying them didn't bother you. The EPA has stamped the technology as natural. So this is a part of their NWO. Okay? Florida is trying to ban them. All right, but as you can see, your president, okay, as he's, rubbing elbows with him, guys like him, he's going to push Florida to get out of that spirit. And the forwarding of the wicked agenda succeeds. But it's going to be all kind of division as this demonic system is being set up. A lot of these states are going to be, it's too much. The Lord is going to implode this devil's plan on his own head. But here it is. Your president is sitting with a guy who who says human beings won't be needed anymore. Okay, remember this guy on Jimmy Fallon who said he said it won't be a need for human beings anymore.
Work super hard. In my 20s, when they went home for this or that, that.
Oh, that's good. And it's bad or it's good or we don't know. What are the pros and cons for, in layman's terms, for someone like me? How's it going to take over? And everyone's talking about AI.
Fair use.
And that's the big topic. Everyone's talking about AI, and that's the big topic. Everyone's how's it going to take over, and all this stuff, and it's bad or it's good or we don't know. What are the pros and cons for, in layman's terms, for someone like me?
Yeah, so the era we've come to is sort of the vision that computing was expensive and it basically became free. The era that we're just starting is that intelligence is rare. You know, a great doctor, a great teacher. And with AI, over the next decade, that will become free, commonplace. You know, great medical advice, great tutoring, and
All to enslave your ass. And the way you're going to have access to that is that charagma, that chip. That's his plan.
it's kind of profound because it solves all these specific problems, like we don't have enough doctors or mental health professionals, but it brings with it.
And when you look at the mental health of the people in the planet Earth, a lot of it has to do with the foods, the crops, the air, the fact that there's not enough trees. Okay? When you look at even YNs and how niggas act in the hood, more trees, all right, would benefit. It would help them to be in a more peaceful state. As a matter of fact, I pulled it up here. Okay? Remember, this earth was created with wisdom. So the Lord knew what he was doing. When you get the Garden of Eden, right? The Garden of Eden Genesis, let's see, 2:9, and out of the ground, this is the garden eastward in Eden, Jerusalem, the Lord God made to grow every tree that is pleasant and to the sight and good for food. And see, this devil, right? Because again, if you follow the laws, okay, and do things naturally, everybody would have food. But he wants to hoard all control of food to himself, man. It's not that there's a shortage of food. It's the corporations that control the food. It's the management of the earth. You see? It's the management of the earth, man. That's really the problem. You got a guy like this, Gil Bates, planning to chop down billions of trees to radically address climate change. Okay, and he does this all around the earth. He has the monetary means to set up an environment where he says he wants all of the carbon out of the air. He wants to reduce carbon in the air. And what is that going to do? That's going to reduce the people. Reducing carbon is reducing life. So now nature and the Lord's creation, animals, trees, and everything that we read about in the creation story is now an enemy to the earth, and they have to be reduced radically. And even if you go in the hood, right? Just a quick thing I looked up. How can more trees benefit neighborhoods with more crime and stress? Great question. Planting more trees and greenery in neighborhoods especially those with higher levels of crime and stress, has been studied a lot in urban planning, psychology, and public health. Here are some ways that trees can benefit communities. Trees provide shade. All right. You have a cheaper electricity bill. You wouldn't have to run your air conditioner all day if there were more trees around. I mean, you would have to run it in certain, places, but it wouldn't be as much. Beauty and natural escape from stressful environments. Research shows that exposure to green spaces lowers cortisol and stress hormones and improves mood. Even looking at trees from a window can improve mental well-being. It reduce anxiety. All right. Shout out to the GMS Northwest camp, the Seattle camp. Okay. If you know, you know. Okay. Trees. Okay. Crime reduction and safety. Okay. Studies like those in Chicago and Philadelphia have found that neighborhoods with more trees and maintained greenery tend to experience lower crime rates. And this devil knows what he's doing. Green spaces encourage positive community. People are more likely to walk, sit outside, and watch over the area. They'll be more prone to speak. You ever go on a trail, people are speaking? It's because it's trees. Especially if it's not concrete, if it's just earth. People tend to be nicer. Social connection and community cohesion. Trees and parks create natural gathering spots, increase neighbor interaction, stronger community ties, and residents more likely to look out for each other, which helps reduce crime and create sense of belonging. When I was in Seattle, the brothers were showing me some people leave water out, free water to, basically people who are walking and, or driving who just may need some water. Okay. Well-kept green areas tend to signal care and investment, which discourages vandalism and neglect. Okay, the opposite of broken windows effect. So, physical health benefits. Tree-filled areas encourage outdoor activity like walking, jogging, and playing, which reduce stress and improves health. Cleaner air from the trees also reduces pollutants, and can worsen stress-related illnesses like asthma. Cleaner air from trees also reduces pollutants that can worsen stress-related illnesses like asthma and heart disease. Environmental comfort. So trees, if they just put more trees in the world period in the neighborhoods, that would drastically reduce the crime. If you change the music that people have access to all day, all right. If you change the food, the water. See, and these things are being used as weapons against the human beings on the planet Earth. Let's get the book of Deuteronomy 20 and 19. This is the law. When you are attacking a town and war drags on, you must not cut down the trees with your axes. You may eat the fruit, but do not cut down the tree. And are the trees your enemies? That you should attack them? So this is the question. Are the trees Esau's enemy? Every year you got fir trees being cut down for the purpose of selling Christmas trees. Trees are just being cut down. That's a art. That's a sport for the Edomite. You may only cut down trees that are not valuable for food. Use them to make equipment, the equipment you need to attack the enemy until it falls. So there's certain trees you would cut down, but he's cutting down the trees you need. Deforestation. Look that up. What is It's the human-induced conversion of forests into other lands, such as agriculture, mining, and urban development. It involves clearing trees and other vegetation, leading to habitation loss for numerous plants and animal species. So what in the hell is wrong with this guy? Okay? Leading to habitat loss of numerous plant and animal species, contributing to climate change by releasing stored carbon dioxide and causing soil erosion. Why is he doing this? Because he is an enemy of carbon. He is crazy. Butter made from carbon. What is this dude doing? Carbon removal. Carbon removal. Why? Let's ask. Okay. How could carbon removed from the earth affect humans and animals? Humans, plants, and animals. It's very key that you understand what this devil is doing. Carbon is one of the most fundamental building blocks of life on Earth. Okay? If large amounts were removed, it would have serious ripple effects. Okay? Plant growth would stop or grow. This gives him control over crops. See, even the king. Let's type that in. Ecclesiastes 11. Even kings are made rich by the field, the earth, the things in the earth, life. Ecclesiastes 5:9. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. It's the field and control of resources that make you rich. So to make sure common people don't have them, he destroys it all. All right. And ultimately uses these corporations to keep control over how much you have access to, how you get access to it. So you no longer go to the Lord for these things, or you go to the devil. Soils would lose fertility because organic carbon helps hold nutrients in water. So this man is at war with life. And it's not just him. All of them. Plants would struggle to survive. Okay. With a significant amount of CO2 being taken out of the air. Okay. And the ecosystem, everything relies on one another. So certain plants are made for certain animals. Certain animals rely on plants. Directly or indirectly. Okay? Humans. Okay? It would destroy us, man. Life couldn't exist without it. So why does he want to reduce it? Huh? Gil Bates promotes and invests in carbon removal technologies through his firm Breakthrough Energy to address climate. See, this devil is crazy. He is insane. He ain't just no regular devil. This is a serious devil. And devil just means deceiver. Don't get all bent out of shit away from the devil. He's not. See, let's get Isaiah 24 and 4, because as a result, everybody's dying. The earth more than fadeth away. The world languishes and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. The earth suffers for the sins of its people, For they have twisted God's instructions, violated his laws. Now everybody's went mad. People have lost it. That's the importance of the throne of David being set up, man. These people are through. We are through here. The earth suffers for the sins of his people, for they have twisted God's instructions, man. And that's deeper than just, homosexuality. That's one of many problems. How about the air, the foods, human interaction, the earth? Remember, this earth was made with some serious wisdom. The Lord has care over all his works. Even the wicked has to eat, right? Even the wicked have to breathe. How could they bring the MOTB if there wasn't no air? Everything the man needed was given by the Lord, man. But we're living in a system that doesn't uphold the instructions to keep it. Let's go to Psalms 104 and 9. Thou hast set a bound that the waters may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. Beaches. All right. Certain other things that are used to stop the water, but beaches is one of them. He sendeth the springs into the valleys which run along the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field. Everything needs water. The wild asses quench their thirst. Okay? Because the Lord, all right, make sure that they have drinking water around them. Humans have drinking water around them. Rivers, creeks, that's supposed to be your drinking water. Okay? By them shall the fowls of heaven have their habitation. Okay? Because trees grow because of water. So now the fowls of heaven have their habitation. Okay? Trees can grow out of rocks high in the sky to give certain birds places to, have their nest. Okay? By them shall the fowls of the heaven have their habitation, which sing among the branches. You don't even really hear birds like that no more. That's supposed to be a natural, alarm clock. Birds. Okay? It's supposed to, that's the music that you're supposed to hear when you get up is birds. There's music all around you if you listen, but this devil has you so hooked on in this synthetic world that you've lost connection with the earth. See that? This man is disrupting life. He watered the hills from his chambers, and the earth is satisfied with the fruits of thy works. He calls it grass to grow for the cattle, which now the grass is synthetic. Cattle are being fed, all right, mess, Skittles, all right. One dude was feeding his cows Skittles. It says, "And the herb for the service of man." Herb is for the service of man. Okay? The Lord gave us everything we would need. Okay? You cook with them, but then you cooking and eating your medicines goes hand in hand. Herbs are made to be eaten. But they come from a ecosystem that relies on order, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. And the wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oils to make his face to shine. So everything you need is in the earth. But this man is destroying the earth and got you hooked on synthetics. What you put on your skin, it all comes from, all right, this man's stores. When you read the back of it, it's just a bunch of like, what is this? This ain't natural. All of this comes out of the earth. Wine that maketh the glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. Bread was made to forward man. Now look at bread. The trees of the Lord are full of sap, frankincense, labdanum, okay, galbanum, myrrh, dragon's blood, elemi. And it goes on and on and on and on, man. Okay, the trees of the Lord are full of sap, pine sap. And all of these things can be used in perfumery. Okay, for incense. Natural, ancient incense came out of the tree, frankincense. See? Now, while frankincense isn't native to the Americas, there's trees that can be planted around you to, to where you would wake up with a natural scent in the earth, in the air. And you can use that resin that comes out of the tree, the sap, to make certain products, to enhance yourself, to burn it for incense, to enhance yourself. It says the cedars of Lebanon, which he hath pitched or implanted, where the birds make their nest, as for the stork, the fir trees are her house. And there's many birds and things that rely on a fir tree being in the ecosystem when it's cold, for food, for habitation. What does he do? He cuts it down so he can sell it as a Christmas tree. The high hills are a refuge for wild goats, and the rocks for the conies. He appointed the moons for season, and the sun knoweth is going down. Okay? But verse 24 is the point. O Lord, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom thou hast made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. You see that? How in wisdom hast thou made all of the things in the planet Earth, man. He gave the blueprint to the Elohim to create all of these things, man. And this devil is just absolutely dismantling it. And everything is dying. Okay? The Lord did not make man to need these things in order to live on the planet Earth. And as soon as you come out of the womb, he's got these things in your face. Now he's putting them in the animals because of the threat of this disease or the threat of that disease. Why are there so many goddamn diseases? Well, the man of sin is ruling. The man of sin, okay, is ruling the planet Earth. Okay? And he ain't gonna stop until he is stopped. The scriptures say, and then shall that wicked be revealed. Let's get it. We get that every lesson. And I didn't even finish up into the transhumanism article, but as you can see, he's trying to transform everything, man. 2 Thessalonians 2:8, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. The children of Satan, the lineage of evil, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. And the word Satan means to be an adversary. And he's adverse to righteousness. He came to do the bidding of Satan in the planet Earth with all power, signs, and lying wonders. And pseudos is the word for lying. And this is what we're witnessing. This is all pseudoscience. A lie. And now that he's being exposed, right? Now that he's being exposed, and as the wicked, he's just going to wage war on everybody. By law, this man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power, signs, and miracles. Okay? And we always show you that the word lying is pseudos. So we're living in a system where the ruler forwards lies, conscience, and intentional falsehood. deceitful, impious precepts, perverse, to lie, to speak deliberate falsehoods, to deceive one by a lie. This is what this man is doing. And pseudos just so happens to be a Greek word. Transhumanism is a thought-provoking exploration of the intersection between ancient wisdom and modern science. It challenges readers to reflect on humanity's potential transformation and ethical dilemmas posed by technological advancements and alchemical advancements. So this man is crazy. Let's see here. Draws the parallel between ancient rituals such as Mayan practice of fertilizing crops, which where did the Mayans get all of that madness from? The Assyrian Babylonian Empire. All right, with human blood and modern genetic engineering where human and plant genes interwoven. So they got you eating humans, man. This, they argue, is a part of a broader alchemical agenda aimed at transforming humanity into a new transcendent form. Wow. So, I mean, what more can we say? I mean, we can go into so many more scriptures, but, you know, technically, you see that this man is the wicked. He is absolutely out of line, out of order, wicked, demonic, and he ain't planning on stopping. And our people look at people like him as, you know, a wise man, you know, a great because he got money. This is madness, man. This is madness. So we have to pray. This man got to be stopped. We're not wrong. And those are what I just went into was 0.1% of this man's evil. And that's even too much based on what you heard. Psalm 79. Oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just, for the righteous God trieth, all right, the hearts and reins. And this is why in Isaiah, the 24th chapter, you know, their wicked, brutal rule leading to everything dying, everybody being sad. This is why they are, so Isaiah 24 and 21, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and they shall be shut up in the prison. So the Lord is going to ultimately, all of these elites, okay, who are at the forefront of this madness, are going to be put in chains because this stuff right here is too much. They've intended, let's get that, Psalms 21. This is Habakkuk 2 and 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And this is what's happening to this devil. So now he's the victim. Now everybody's the enemy. He has to stop this. He has to stop that. For the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil, and in the land of Lebanon, which is a part of the Holy Land, is nothing but war. But that's also symbolizing the elect. Okay? Laban means pure white. The trees of Lebanon were used by King Solomon to build the temple. Okay? And the spoil of beasts, which made them afraid because of men's blood and violence of the land and of the city and all that dwell therein. See? Revelation 11. And this is just a couple of devils we showed you. Imagine the ones that are not on TV, what they got going on. Revelation 11 and 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth, man. Okay, and this man is destroying the earth. Okay? Absolutely. Positively. Okay? It's nothing but death. Nothing but conspiracies. Oh, man. See that? Read that. It's just too much. All these diseases and flus, and it's like, God damn, man. As another major terror alert is issued, we should be asking if America is ready for bioterrorism crisis that could potentially kill a lot of people. Well, it's coming. That's why we take care of ourselves, man. So yeah, man, I just wanted to get into that, you know. I mean, the point was made. We can go into this man's wickedness all day, but as you can see, you know, this man is a real problem. So when we're talking about the Edomite being destroyed, okay, yeah, the people are just empty. When we talk about this man being destroyed, it's deeper than just, you know, the talk. But you know, he put us in slavery, racism, and you know, this man is a real problem. Yeah, look at that. Everything's dying. Look at that. Squirrels with all kind of sores. Anna, the creation is groaning. Okay? Revelation 11 and 45. And this is speaking of the Roman Empire, which we know will be revived. And there shall appear no more thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws. You know, there's Caesars, which those Caesars are all back today. We see one now, Nero. Nor all thy vain body, that the earth may be refreshed and return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the mercy and judgment of him that made her. Shalom.